Nola Gay. So that's the business from Trump and MAGA, but remove pictures of the historic Enola Gay pipeline because it has the word gay. Oh my god. So this true that they got rid of that they
His plane window
removed
and that plane.
pictures of some like his so I guess Trump removed pictures of some like historical plane because it has seemingly because it has the word gay. I'm gay in it. I'm that actually doesn't like surprise me that much because they probably are just blanketly searching for it. Like I remember like a while ago, late last year, I did, as part of an assignment for school, because I'm studying childcare, had to do basically a report of like looking into like a children's book and researching like the author and the book itself and stuff. And the author was by I forget what her first name was, but her last name was Gay. And one of the most notable things that I found about her was that one of her that some of her books were like famously banned from this library or the school in like Alabama at like the heart of the whole critical race theory obsession because her last name is Gay, and they just kind of assumed it had to do with like queer people. So what is this?
This is incredible. All right, this is Paul Tibbets. He retired from the United States military as brigadier general. He was a pilot in the United States Air Force during World War II. Here's another shot of him poking his are on file with the U.S. Department of Defense. And the reason the AP published this database is because, according to their reporting, the Trump administration plans to wholesale delete all the 26,000 photos and websites that are listed in this Pentagon database. All 26,000 things here. The Trump.
Okay, what do we have here? Thunderbolts. Yeah, I've been very, very interested in like this marketing they've been doing for Thunderbolts. Right, like I don't know if this is just a change like since Captain America: Brave New World happened, but I've definitely been noticing it since then that like they've really been trying to market this movie as basically like the A24 of like studio superhero movies, right? Of it having like much more of a quote unquote real cinema vibe to it, feeling like kind of like an indie movie, like a Florence Pugh, who herself very interesting as someone who has been a big star of like more like art film or like kind of award the kind of movies that get considered for awards. I think she was up for like best actress or a supporting actress one year at the Oscars. I can't remember like what it was for. But she's in a lot of like indie movies and movies that do get a lot of talk beyond just being like really successful blockbusters. And she's also in big blockbusters like like she's in the Marvel movies. She's was Black Widow's sister, Natasha's sister in Black Widow, and she's I think pretty much the star of this new Thunderbolts movie. And like they're really, I think she was talking about it as it feels like an indie A24 assassin movie, but with Marvel superheroes. And definitely, I feel like I get kind of a bit of like a bit of both when I watch the trailers. Like some of it does feel like, oh yeah, that does seem a bit different. And they've also, talked a lot about how they are using like a lot of practical effects, like even like for their explosions and stuff. Whereas usually Marvel movies would be more, would just have a lot of overuse of CGI. It feels though there does seem like some hint of some big like sci-fi thing I guess at the end, but it does feel relatively grounded. Like is that going to end up like I feel like a lot of Captain America: Brave New World had that vibe too. And honestly, when you watch the movie, a good half of that movie, it does feel like a relatively grounded, especially in terms of tone, movie that does feel very different from most Marvel stuff. It's just that, yeah, it does uh, have almost like a second climax of then there's Red Hulk, which, for a lot of people, hey, yeah, you throw in a CG monster, well, you can't call yourself a grounded uh you know political thriller, right? To me, I thought it worked well enough. There's always like this difficulty with Marvel movies of like, it's hard and superhero movies in general and a lot of action, a lot of these kinds of movies. How do you end this, you know, because you have such this clear idea of a structure and that, okay, well, this is the outline that you have to follow, and you kind of feel like, well, for audiences to leave the theater satisfied, you kind of feel like, well, they need to have this big spectacle, fight, right? They need to be, fighting the big CG monster or whatever it is. Um, and even these Marvel movies that like try to do something very different, or Marvel projects that try to do something very different, they generally end up falling back into that. Like I remember a lot of people also being upset that with like WandaVision, that it, even though you got like 8 episodes or whatever it was of very interesting, weird sitcom stuff, and exploration of grief and all this stuff, and then it ends in, okay, two witches shooting, shooting energy at each other. Even if, okay, the ultimate, like how she actually wins and beats, the other witch there is outthinking her, not necessarily just like overpowering her, right? I feel like Black Widow probably, and very interesting. This being, pretty much like this is basically a sequel to Black Widow, but throwing in, some other Marvel characters. I think probably partly because Black Widow wasn't necessarily a huge hit, so like having a Scarlett Johansson less, direct sequel to Black Widow starring Florence Pugh, I think wouldn't necessarily have been like a strong sell. But hey, throw in Bucky, throw in John Walker and Ghost and these characters that I think people kind of like, but don't necessarily, couldn't headline their own thing, and don't haven't necessarily gotten as much opportunity to be a great thing. But I think they have a really strong cast here. But anyway, like in Black Widow, I feel like that is one of the only Marvel movies I can think of that did really, really try to change that formula and that structure. So, like, the climax of Black Widow is not, her fighting some big, CG uh, creature. It's not even her fighting, the Taskmaster in that movie. It's her having a conversation about how she outthunk the bad guy in an office. uh it's though even then there's still the spectacle, right? Because it's the spectacle of them escaping this like collapsing, what was it? It was like a space station, but it was just in the sky. But anyway, I love how like in these trailers, right, really, they're highlighting, here's the cinematographer, here's the production designer. How many Marvel movies do you see highlighting the production designer or the editor, the composer? And people have, also really pointed out they're really highlight, they're really trying to market this as an eight, essentially an A24 Marvel movie. Like this trailer has that kind of style, and I think pretty much all of the movies, or I think Beef might be a TV show, but basically all of those are A24 releases. Like they're really, and I think that's a good move, right? Because I think we are really at this point of you can't you can't make a movie like this, like you can't make a Marvel movie be successful just on the virtue of it's a Marvel movie and it has these big CGI sequences and people in costumes and fantastical powers and stuff. People in this movie actually don't have like much, you know, in the realm of powers. Like the closest would be like Ghost, who can sort of, you know, move through things, or like, you know, Red Guardian and uh, John Walker, who are basically just like, you know, like Captain America, right? They're slightly better than everyone at everything, right? They're a little faster and have, you know, more endurance, a little stronger and stuff like that, right? It's not like this crazy, uh, you know, it's not like you're throwing in freaking Scarlet Witch who can reshape reality. Um, like I think what you really do need to have like a successful Marvel movie, and we'll see how the next, you know, few projects do this, is you have to show how you are unique, right? You can't just be another Marvel movie. You have to be, you know, so like Fantastic Four, I think they're trying to play up the period aspect. I think it does look like a fairly unique movie. It does look different from what we've usually seen from, you know, the MCU. This movie, I think, has a bit of that vibe, and maybe that'll help it. Um, and me personally, it helps with my excitement because I have been trying to get more into like I have been getting more into like sort of like dramas and you know, that sort of, you know, quote unquote like real cinema or like auteur cinema kind of thing, um as opposed to just watching like franchises and superhero movies, though I do still love superhero movies, and I'll prob yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Coming. Who will keep people safe?
Oh, whoops. Bob. Oh, Bucky. Oh, we didn't know that. Thunderbolt says officially the best marketing team out of any MCU movie. Marvel Studios had a crew of indie veterans. Yeah, they are really going with this. Yeah, I already mentioned that quote from hers. Absolute cinema. Yeah, so it's like, that almost feels like a challenge, like freaking Scorsese, right? This is the Marvel movie that is cinema. You know, we'll see. Oh my God, there's freaking Scorsese. It's great. Oh my, is that the official? Is that the official? Oh my God. Yeah, they're having fun with it, right? That's the official Thunderbolts like Marvel. Hmm. Okay, I'm now wondering because I see a check mark, but that doesn't actually. So I was about to say, like, I think that's the official Marvel Studios like Thunderbolts account. Now I'm not sure, especially because it says Thunder B News. I think this might be a fan account that just pays for verification, right? Because only following 59 people. 22,000. I feel like if it was an official account, I feel like it would have more followers. There were that many people following like just the Thunderbolt. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I feel like that's not the official account. Yeah, I don't know what this chicken thing. Like, there's a couple of sequences. I have no idea what is going on. That has to be like whatever the sci-fi thing at the end is, where there's like some. What is it? There's like some like dark cloud. But yeah, the recent marketing I've seen movie is like very good, and I can't wait to see Ghost. Right, I love like I a lot. I know a lot of people like hated Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really loved it, and like one of my favorite parts of it was Ghost, and I've been really wanting to see more of her since. Like I love, Killjoy is a really great Canadian, sci-fi show. Um, so yeah, I hope she gets a good spotlight here and can, uh, yeah. I'm just really looking. I'm probably, well, I mean, Yelena's the I'd say most excited for Yelena, who's just the goat in terms of just not only Florence Pugh, but like I love like watch Hawkeye, watch her episodes of Hawkeye, especially with Kate Bishop, which is also where I hope she's like also the one character from this that gets at least some part in like Avengers, Doomsday, or Secret Wars, because like come on, she has to be in like one of those, right? She has to interact with Kate Bishop. Like especially when I think of that as like the culmination of like the past, you know, five, 6 years of like Marvel storytelling since Endgame. Like the characters, two of the only like major characters that have had actual interaction of new characters to the MCU that have had actual interactions and a clearly defined, relationship and dynamic, right? That we did get, in the Infinity Saga with, between Steve and Tony, that we could see evolve across, like essentially three Avengers movies if you count Civil War before we even get to Infinity War. So there's like a lot of, tension there, and you don't have as much of that with this current like batch of like, Marvel characters, right? We had one season of Moon Knight. We haven't seen him since, except for like this little cameo of an alternate version of him in What If, right? I guess Miss Marvel is another one of those, right? We have, where she hasn't had a second season yet, but she was in the Marvel, so okay, a little bit of her relationship with, with Carol that I guess you can kind of build on if she's in those movies. Oh, that's great. Thunderbolts will have limited theatrical release. We know fans are excited, so with our A24 approach, we'll make sure it isn't playing anywhere near them. Like, yeah, yeah. Like I can't remember if like I think this was A20. I'm not sure though. Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit. I remember because I saw the trailers for that, and I love Taika Waititi, so I was like, oh, I really want to see that. And I was living in Toronto at the time, and I was looking for, when it would be playing, and the closest I could find was a Cineplex in Scarborough, which was just for me where I was in Toronto. That would just be really out of my way. So I ended up like, not like I would have bought a ticket. I would have happily, seen it in theaters. But like it wasn't even in freaking like downtown or midtown Toronto, which I couldn't believe. Yeah. No. Oh, what else? What else do we have? Oh, there's A24 playing with it too. Yeah, like they're yeah. So this is the Thunderbolts news account that said Marvel's first indie film. I think like semi jokingly, right? Because it's Marvel, it's the studio, it's the biggest thing in the world. And this person responds to that saying, objectively fun is this, but a movie costs over $100 million. What does the word indie mean or signify that it looks good? Like, I get I think they're being tongue in cheek about it, and I get what they mean, right? They mean, it has that vibe. It looks like a, high quality movie, or like understated. Yeah, yeah. It's basically, yeah, that it looks good. The Northwest, what? Mark, is this person saying like apparently Mark Carney was planning to run in Northwest. Isn't he from freaking BC? What, he wants to run in Northwest Territories, and now maybe running in Alberta. Like, don't the Liberals have like one seat in Alberta, and like even that, like keeping it isn't like I don't think is like a guaranteed thing. What is a different man? God, is that true? Gina Hackman has like 3 kids, and they weren't. Yeah, so we went like at least a week. Like I guess there's like 2 weeks of like the first week his, his wife dies, so she's not able to. Gene Hackman died of I think it was like a heart sort of thing, but like uh, very much caused by Alzheimer's. So like his wife dies, and then he's like alone for a week. Maybe he didn't even realize she died. Before he dies with an empty stomach and from like I think with some heart condition. And yeah, like those 2 weeks, and they don't find him for a while. I think he was dead for a while. Um, like his adult kids, like never paid a visit. Not like me. Yeah, when was the last time I mean, she doesn't have Alzheimer's, right? But she's just very old. But like, yeah, when's the last time I saw my good grandma? It's been sometime last year, I guess. But she has like there's other people that live in her house. Should do more, shouldn't I? So Bernie's doing rallies again. Yeah, I'm honestly at the point of like, why are we? I honestly almost feel like the United. You know what? No. I legitimately feel like the United States right now is a bigger is a bigger threat than China. I feel like if we're looking at okay, who's the lesser evil in terms of who is an active threat to Canada, right? Who has threatened the sovereignty of Canada? Who legitimately poses a threat, a self-declared threat to the very existence of Canada? That's the United States, it's not China. So like if I'm advising people, I would say like yeah, I would rather build stronger ties with China, honestly, at least in the short term, than with the United States. So especially with like the U.S. already passing all these tariffs on all our imports, like I think we should probably be using some of those Chinese, some of the tariffs we have in China. Okay. No, I saw all of this. Has this not been refreshed? God, I have a lot of like Trudeau fans in my feed. I'm noticing. Who was the youngest prime minister? I thought he would have been the youngest. Like Joe Clark, maybe. Let me see that. Uh, youngest. Ah, Prime Minister of Canada. Yeah, Joe Clark, 40th birthday. Yeah, and first Western Canadian Prime Minister. All right. What was that? I was on Threads. Yeah, I couldn't believe, like, Trudeau went on TV like the other day and talked about how he, described himself as a Zionist and said people should be proud and not ashamed to call themselves a Zionist. And I could how in the middle of the freaking genocide in Gaza and Palestine more generally, when you see like these freaking images of what's being done to these Palestinian children and women and innocent people, with talk of explicit more and more explicit genocide and ethnic cleansing. How can you, like, with a straight face and no shame, call yourself a Zionist? Right? It's like oh my god. I It's like I went to Catholic school. I I remember people, on what day, but anyway, people would come back from mass on the, is it like Ash Tuesday or Ash Wednesday or whatever, right? The day when they put the freaking. I remember for a long time being like, okay, what is that? Why are they doing that? I always felt weird. I always felt weird on that day. I never once let them do it to my forehead, right? I would never let them do that. But like I've never seen it like that big. It's usually like a little bit here. You almost can't tell it's a cross sometimes. Like that's a performative ash cross. Like, come on. It's not what I said.
Mind your own business. Let that groundhog get out of the wall. Say you want that thing and then get back in. Talking to Eric.
Liberals that love Japan,
I fucking love Japan.
just remember it's a conservative country.
The rapture isn't real or biblical. Let me help you.
The secret to running a personal brand on social media.
We really appreciate you doing this. Sure. And 3, 2, 1. Troy and Abed in the morning, and we're back. Look who's here, Jeff Winger. Jeff, how do you stay so fit?
Diet, exercise.
Another conservative who wants to know what Justin Trudeau and the Liberals accomplished in the last 9 years. Sure, I'll be happy to show you, but I'm going to use an old video because I don't want to refilm this whole thing. Plus, I think I look kind of good with just the goatee. Fat Boy Farmer here says, propaganda, what
It's
the fuck?
quiet.
What's Trudeau done that benefits Canadians? What the fuck? Seriously? Seriously? Okay, let's answer the question seriously. Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a little
new setup, eh?
What?
Yeah, this wasn't. You weren't doing that. I've never seen you do that before.
Okay. I don't plan for
Like,
you.
he's like really good.
I'm going to say it. All you people who are worshiping Luigi Mangione.
You may have
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming
investigation
down.
because it's a hoax.
Are you?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, you may have
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming
investigation
down.
because it's a hoax.
Are you?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
They give birth, and that's automatically a citizen. No, you need to go through the proper channels.
I feel like there's something in the Bible about that where someone goes into a foreign area and gives birth. I don't know. There's
No,
gotta.
there's not.
When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? As ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. What do you think it's about?
Trump has come up with a brilliant idea for dealing with the drug problem in the United States.
Side hustle idea part 2.
Things are the way they are now. They're as bad as they are now because people didn't get political fast enough. And by the way,
lay it on me. Tell me what you can do, Mountain Valley Spring.
Okay. I can communicate with every living creature living in our vast oceans.
Okay. Talks to fish. Got it.
Also,
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Wondering how to take your content creation to
oh, your uncle died during 9/11?
Yeah, no, that's nothing.
Whenever I'm waiting on a table and their card declines, I always do.
You can get cute latte art like this at this coat.
Studio.
It's 3 words. Thanks, Pat Remick. That's all I want you to put there.
You don't understand. I have practiced this in the mirror a million times. I can't change it now. It's perfect. I start genuinely shocked, then get very humble, become overwhelmed with gratitude, and start crying. Then I compose myself, give a big thanks to Team Open, and that's it.
This movie would not exist if it wasn't for me. I greenlit it. You and me. We are Team Open.
You can't possibly believe that.
I do!
Oh my God, that is so sad.
Dude, shut the man. I'm out here trying to show Christopher Nolan that I have range, and all I can hear is you whining.
I'm so sorry, Ronnie, and you are killing it tonight.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely watch that one.
Nerds are like women. They never get blamed for anything. So Tech Bro makes it frat boy adjacent. Like there's some bro with his hat backwards.
Yeah. Every time he starts talking is literally a Hasanabi spit set.
Oh yeah, and that's especially Zuckerberg, right? Like he's a nerd who always dreamed of like being a jock, and now he has this level of power from being a nerd, and so he's just deciding to try to become his version of like a jock, and with the stupid freaking chain, especially when he's trying like so hard to like right wing code himself, right?
And to see Elon.
Is ever gonna film like another Nightshade video?
Obviously have done, we talked about the Batman films, you've done, Amazing Spider-Man 2, you came back to the superhero genre with Dark Phoenix. Are you yourself kind of superheroed out? I'm kind of surprised the official MCU has never come calling, or if they have, you've said no.
And he, Hans Zimmer, one of the best, like, because I love score music and like movie, soundtracks. Hans Zimmer is like one of the absolute best, and like his like Dark Phoenix, for example, like Dark Phoenix in general, like is not a great movie. It doesn't have, for the most part, like doesn't have great performances. I think James McAvoy is pretty good in it. It doesn't have a great script. It has a lot of problems. For me, just having watched it, because I watched it, in the theater when it came out. I enjoyed the experience. Like the experience of watching it was pleasant for me, which I realized, especially after the fact, was really pretty much just his score. Like he has such a great like epic score that I still listen to, especially like when I'm like I like listening to it, like when I'm reading comics, especially 'cause it's a really good like dark score and ascending epic darkness, right? Oh, Green and Gold's on Rachel Gilmore.
My problem is what you currently are saying.
This is a major crisis, and mass immigration is to blame.
People are worried. People are very nervous.
This is a major crisis, and mass immigration is to blame.
People are worried. People are very nervous.
They want to cause chaos.
Students from around the world taking our kids' seats.
Radical, uncontrolled immigration are partly to blame for joblessness, housing, and healthcare crises.
We are in a moment in this country and around the world where people are struggling and want change. They are looking to identify who's responsible for the crisis they're in. For most people, they know in their heart of hearts it's the elite.
Yeah.
And the way to distract people is to tell them that the fault is your neighbor, the person who is the working class other, the racialized person, the immigrant, and the migrant.
Many of us are hearing that migrants are somehow responsible, but when we look at the actual numbers and see who's making profit off of this myth, it's simply not true.
Went all the way back to the beginning.
Look at all these dudes! I knew I smelled sausage.
Yes. Abby, I'm Liz.
Liz!
Yeah, her whole like,
Thank
baby.
you!
Oh my god.
Our nips just...
You can tell I was homeschooled because I don't know how to high five. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of high school archetypes that could come back into there as well. I think it's also a very funny thing because high school archetypes change, and a lot of the references in what we think of as like high school stuff are cultural artifacts.
True.
Like this idea of teens being like super bad, like let's go party, is part of it. But I work at a summer camp still, and all the teens I know are depressed queer socialists, which I don't see reflected pretty much anywhere in high school media.
Yeah, totally.
Let's get the movie about the last day of senior year with a bunch of depressed queer socialists getting together for some direct action, like aiding in a labor strike, some canvassing, something like that. That'd be awesome.
Non, merci. We got him Blue Sky. Oh, yeah, Tesla. Frick. Suspicious pattern alarming the Ukrainian military. Ukrainian military source believes that Russia's long-range strikes are aimed at using satellite image. That. What's this? I don't see a source. Yes, we're at 41 minutes. I feel like there's pretty much nothing. I should have just like live stream for live streams. I don't. I. Why did I pick this for recording? News websites.